Good morning. I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castros.
Happy Thursday sa lahat ng mga
Yes.
ka-brunch. Thank you for joining us again on one more day. It's Friday.
Oo, Friday
Oh.
na. Pero
Bakit
feeling
madaming
ko nga kahapon Friday na sa dami ng mga nangyari.
Actually, this week
Lunes pa lang, oh my gosh.
This week ang daming nangyari. It's all started sa weekend. Siyempre sa Senate action.
Oo.
And then of
Tapos,
course yung kay Mayor Guo na
Guo,
hearing, 'di ba? Daming chismis and
yung mga nanonood,
news.
totoo yan. Yung mga nanonood sa atin sa brunch, yan, we encourage them also. Lagi naman kasi sila actually, nakaki-engage sa mga usapan natin dito. At hinuhulaan nila kung ano yung number 1 natin na topic for today. And mostly nakakahula naman sila, tama.
Hindi, ang madalas nakakahula ng maayos si Gary Field. Siya yung talaga hindi ko alam kung chamba or talagang ano siya.
Siyempre, very updated siya.
Updated si Gary Field.
For sure.
Sige, we're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
No.
Oh.
Pangalan ko gumanda. Starting our countdown with some sizzling sports action over at the PBA semis. The Meralco Bolts and San Miguel Beermen improved their chances of getting to the finals. The Beermen bested rain or shine again 117-107 at Das Marinas Arena in Cavite yesterday. With a 3-0 standing, the Beermen is a win away from booking their ticket to the finals. Later on, Meralco escaped Barangay Nebra with a close 87-80 victory. Meralco now stands at 2-1 in the best-of-7 series.
Yan ang mga nag-aabang sa PBA.
Pag nag-2-0, 1 game matatime lang.
Ito naman, let's continue with our countdown for today. Moving over to our 9th spot, Bulacan's Chelsea Manalo is Miss Universe Philippines 2024. Manalo bested over 50 other candidates for the crown. She is now set to represent the country in the Miss Universe pageant in Mexico. The runners-up are Stacy Gabriel of Cainta and Atisa Manalo from Quezon Province, as well as Baguio Stara Valencia and Christy McGarry of Taguig. The live coronation was held in the Mall of Asia Arena on Wednesday. Congratulations. She's going to be the first Filipino African-American bet natin sa Miss Universe International.
Interesting.
Congratulations. Ano nga siya, ang tawag sa kanya, Living Barbie. Kasi mukha talaga siyang Barbie. Ganda.
Mukhang Pinoy ba?
Oo naman, mukhang Pinoy.
Hindi, kaya ka lang natanong kasi ang daming nagsasabi din, yung mga pundits, na sana later on, yung maghanap tayo ng grassroots program wherein we harness them. Like parang ginagawa ng India. Diba? Bata pa lang sila from the different parts of the country. Hahanapin talaga yung yung mga tubong dito. Para hindi yung laging imported.
Pilipino din naman siya.
Wala man ako sinasabing hindi Pilipino. Sinasabi ko sustainable grassroots program.
Go.
Ay, nako. Laking blanco na naman. Next. Ranking 8 is an alarming report. The Health Department reports 55 new HIV cases daily within the Philippines, with a growing number among the youth, some as young as 15 years old. Mobile Journal Julie Baisa has the report.
55 new cases of human immunodeficiency virus or HIV are recorded in the Philippines every day, according to the Department of Health. These cases commonly involve the youth as young as 15 years old.
Testing natin 61%. We have about 59,000 people living with HIV. It's something like I think 130,000 ang estimate na existing. That's still low for a country with 110 million. Pero ang ating mataas ay yung new cases. 55 new cases a day. Highest in the world. That's why we need to stop. And I think it's because of the education kasi mga bata sila.
Herbosa emphasized the need to educate the youth about safe sex and promote HIV awareness as they have become more experimental and exposed to the internet. They are now coordinating with the Department of Education about the issue. Aside from this, the Health Department is also looking into the possibility of making the ARV drugs or antiretroviral therapy available in the private sector.
Ang ARV natin sa gobyerno lang makukuha through PhilHealth. You can't buy it on the private sector. The other thing is probably make it available in the private sector. Kagaya TB. Pag walang gamot sa TB.center, ay pumunta ka sa butika, may reseta ka, bilhin mo yan.
Meanwhile, the DOH would not recommend travel restrictions on any country with increasing COVID infections driven by the new coronavirus variant.
I'm not thinking border control, mandatory mask. I'm not thinking that. But I'm advising every Filipino, since that's happening, that can come here, yung minimum public health standards. If you are sick, you have cough, colds, sore throat, it's better to stay home. If you need to go out, wear a mask. So it's still personal.
When asked if this variant have reached the country,
It's possible, although the variant isn't serious. That's why it's only classified as a variant under monitoring. Di ba, may variant of concern, and then yung talagang dinideclare nilang public health emergency of international. So it's under a variant of monitoring. Mabilis siya kumalat, so they're thinking nagwe-wane siguro ang immunity.
her bosses said that they are continuously monitoring the cases and the behavior of this new flirt variant. Mobile journalist Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
Oh, that's very alarming Tsaka mga bata pa yung pinag-uusapan natin.
And
diba?
alarming na din, 15 years, as early as 15 years old. Oo.
And to think that there are, campaigns, diba? Nakakausap natin ng several organizations here that would tell them very, kumbaga, aggressive sila when it comes to comprehensive sex education sa mga eskwelahan. But we'll see. To tell us more about this, we have Health Deputy Spokesperson Albert Domingo via Zoom.
Good morning, Asek.
Hi.
Thanks again for
Hi, good
joining
morning,
us.
Angelo and Angela. Good morning sa inyo.
Yes, Asek, I'd like to start it off now. What are the factors behind the rise of HIV cases? Medyong alarming kasi the ages are getting younger and younger.
That is correct. No, yung actually looking at the data, I was monitoring earlier. Nasabi na rin, but to emphasize, from January to March 2024, in terms of percentages, 81% were males having sex with males, and then the age range, at least for March 2024 alone, ang median age is 28. Half of the new cases for March 2024 were aged 25 to 34 years old, and then 31% 15 to 24. Why do we want to mention those data points? We're looking at sexual practices as the primary mode of transmission, and also the age is getting younger.
Yes.
Siguro, yung dahilan, bakit kaya kumakalat, no, ganyan, etc. What we suspect at the DOH is, baka yung access to information and products needed to have safe sex are limited.
Right.
And aside from that, sorry,
Go.
karugtong lang kasi, you mentioned also access, no? Another word, Doc, is access also to information online that would empower them to be more promiscuous. For example, pornographic sites are easy to access. Kahit sabihin mo naman may age restriction mechanisms yan, hindi naman 24/7 nakatutok ang magulang. Do you agree with that, Asek?
The challenge, Angelo, with that particular aspect is it's not actually a health concern, no? That is more of a preference and morality concern, and we don't pass judgment. In terms of the health aspect, our role here is to make sure that should they choose to do such behaviors, they are free from harm and they are protected.
Okay.
Which means there should be condoms available according to each individual preference, and also, of course, culturally appropriate. It's more of a stigma issue. Diretsuhin ko na, Angela, kasi personal choice yan eh.
Right.
Kung ang choice ng isang bata is to be sexually awakened earlier, the morality aspect is not the DOH. It's to the person's church, if he even has one, or to the family who is supervising, di ba? Pero kami, nangyayari eh. Yun yung datos eh, di ba? We
Right.
don't want to become the preachers. We are the doctors.
Right.
So we make sure that there is no stigma, number one. And how do we do that? Yun yung challenge. Kasi ang mga HIV services ngayon, typically, nasa mga HIV treatment centers. Sabi nga ni SecTed, pupunta ka sa isang HIV center, may malaking paskil nakalagay, HIV treatment center. Kung meron kang kuya or may tatay na conservative, di ba, I'm looking at the age band, 15 to 24, 31% of the new cases. Considering that 81% of new cases were sexually transmitted men having sex with men. So, magkakaroon ng judgment. Pupunta ka dun sa may stigma. So ang sabi ni Secretary Ted, hindi dapat ganyan.
Right.
Dapat walang stigma. Dapat ang HIV services accessible at primary care. And when we say primary care, general primary care. Everywhere. Meaning, if you go to a health center, hindi mo alam kung yung nakapila doon, may babae, may lalaki, ano ba siya? High blood? Meron ba siyang ubo, sipon? Meron ba siyang HIV? Ang sagot, di natin alam. Gusto lang yan ng serbisyong pangkalusugan.
So, parang in essence, pupunta ka doon kasi meron kang concern medical related. Hindi na natin itutukoy pa kung ano pa yung concern. That's why there are a lot of people na tumataas nga yung kaso dito because nahihiya sila pumunta sa clinics or sa mga public hospitals because of the stigma. You're right on that, Doc.
Precisely.
But Doc, I was reading a report here that says na nagkaroon din po ng increased number of HIV-related cases in Bicol. No? So that's also not in Metro Manila. And there's a mention there about grassroots level anti-AIDS campaign. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, that's connected to what we just said, Angela, no? Yung primary care na sinasabi, yan yung grassroots.
Yeah.
Kasi we should move away, tama-tama yung tinanong mo, kasi just yesterday, the Secretary of Health met with the President and briefed the President on a primary healthcare and primary care. And that means, hindi na tayo dapat sa ospital. Let's connect it to HIV. We should not focus on the big treatment centers, di ba? The specialists. No, this is about going to the grassroots. This is about bringing the health services, HIV detection, screening services to the grassroots. Yung awareness campaign, it's one thing to increase awareness, and thank you for Brunch for helping us in that aspect. But what if tumaas na yung awareness? Tapos sabihin ng ating teenager na lalaki na gusto niya magpa-testing, saan ako pupunta? Kung wala siyang pupuntahan, or alam niyo kung saan siya pupunta, pero pagdating nga doon, may malaking signboard na nakalagay, HIV/AIDS Center, yung kung pumunta dyan, may tatawagan, may pwede siyang tawagan. Meron ba siyang, di ba, anonymous number, or in the privacy of his or her own home, pwede siyang tumawag. Yun yung mga kailangan natin buuin para itong, para bang trend of increasing HIV in the Philippines. The prevalence, meaning yung dami, is relatively low to other countries, pero kami ay nababahala kasi yung pagpanik, mataas siya.
Yes, Asik, I'd like to ask, are we in favor of, giving free contraceptives in schools, private and public?
This is something that is, again, going back to the distribution point concept. Do we give it at the health center? Do we give it at the school? Do we give it in the community? Do we give it in church?
Yeah.
Something controversial to say. I'm Catholic, and I'm pretty sure my parish priest will not authorize that, and that is the choice of my faith group. But what about other faith groups? Or those who don't have faith at all? May ganun tayong our Constitution is actually secular. It doesn't recognize a particular religion. It doesn't recognize a particular preference on morality or even sight, diba? It's a tricky thing to say, but the choice of the individual is influenced, as I mentioned earlier, by his family, by his school. So it's a choice that has to be considered and discussed, of course, with the Department of Education and subject to cultural appropriateness.
Asik, I'd like to, most misconception kasi about HIV sa mga younger ones is they think na having HIV is already a death sentence. Well, in fact, it's no longer the case because ang daming advancements. Ang critical dyan, Asik, correct me if I'm wrong, but as long as you catch the virus early on, you can still live a normal life. Now, how do we spread that message across to all the younger generation para hindi sila takot magpa-test? Kasi yan ang fear nila eh. Malaman ko HIV, baka mamamatay na ako. And they're scared to find out. But it's not a death sentence. So how do we impart that message?
Angelo, you are absolutely right. No, alam mo, one of my public health mentors actually told me once, why don't we just look at HIV na parang high blood? Pag may HIV ka, hindi may high blood ka, bakit ba tayo masyadong judgmental kapag HIV, di ba? Bakit yung mga high blood, di tayo nagagalit, di ba? Kung, I know it's wrong, pero just to drive it home, yung parang napaka-extreme na example. Kung mahilig tayong mamahiya, mag-condemn ng taong may HIV, bakit yung mga kumakain ng maaalat, yung kumakain ng lechon, bakit di natin pagalitan? It's the same thing. It's a chronic disease. HIV is a chronic disease. And tama ka, Angelo, kung mga nakikinig nating kabataan, hindi na siya death sentence. Ang taong may high blood, hindi namamatay kung umiinom ng maintenance
Correct.
medicines ng regularly at nagpapacheck sa doktor. Ganon rin po ang HIV. Hindi siya kamatayan, hindi rin tayo dapat nagja-judge. Kasi kung ganun pala, dapat lahat ng kumakain ng lechon, umiinom ng soft drinks na nagkakaroon ng diabetes,
Right.
dapat pinipersecute rin natin sila. And that's the wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it is, the right way to do it is to provide the avenue, the information, the commodities, and the services to make it less harmful and better for health.
Yes, Asek, since we're talking about the medicine now, I would like to touch on that area for those who don't know what are ARV drugs or antiretroviral drugs. Could you tell us more about it, your plans to giving it to private sector? Kasi I think there are also issues na hindi daw to available sa lahat eh. Na
That's
lahat ng
correct.
establishment
Yeah,
ng clinic.
that's correct. Meron kang antiretroviral, the ARV. Hindi ko lang memorize yung mga specific chemical names,
Yeah.
no. Pero these are actually procured by the DOH. That's one source. And PhilHealth also has a package for HIV treatment. So in other words, merong financing sources. Available yan sa mga treatment centers. Gusto nga namin i-roll out sa general primary care. Pero sa ngayon, there are, I'm just looking at the number, 224, kung di ako nagkakamali. Yes, 224 HIV treatment centers nationwide where if you are tested and you are recorded as having the condition, then you will be started immediately to ensure that you will para bang not progress to AIDS. You will be started on the ARV. Tapos ano yan, naka-budget yan, Angela. Every year, buwibili ang Pilipinas ng budget na ganyan para sa ating mga ARVs.
Lastly, Asek, very quickly lang po about taking this opportunity na rin to ask you about the COVID-19. Kasi may mga alarming cases po daw, and what do we know about itong bagong variant na tinitingnan, yung COVID-19 flirt variant? And what do we know about this?
Yeah, kaya ako nakapasmile. Ang galing naman ng segue from HIV, biglang flirt ang napag-usapan.
Actually.
The reason why I say that, alam nyo, to our friends in media, marami na akong interviews this morning. I know it's cute to use the term flirt, pero actually, ano lang yan, some scientists, FLRT stands for 4 amino acids. Phenylalanine is F, L is leucine, R is arginine, and T is threonine. Kaya may I sa gitna kasi nag-invert, nagkaroon tayo ng mutation, kaya flirt.
Tapos
Pero the
capital
proper
R pa.
name-
Oo.
Oo, but the proper name is KP2 and KP3. And from a
Alright.
communication perspective, wag natin sabihin yung flirt kasi baka mamaya sabihin ibang disease pinag-uusapan. The cases are increasing, but there is no need to be alarmed at this point.
Alright.
We are watching. Right after this interview, I'm gonna hop onto another meeting na titingnan namin yung data and we will keep you updated kung ano man ang developments.
All right, it's always so nice to talk to talk to you.
Oo,
Thank you
si-
so much, Health Deputy Spokesperson Albert Domingo.
Thank you. Good morning.
Breath of fresh-
Comprehensive
laging,
kasi ang kanyang
breath of
mga
fresh air, lagi
explanation sa atin.
Si Asek, very jolly.
Yes.
Kahit minsan pinag-uusapan, medyo gloomy na.
Oo.
Oo.
All right, coming up. President Bongbong Marcos approves the return to old school calendar amid clamors from students and teachers.
And the Senate investigation continues on Bamban Mayor Alice Guo's citizenship and her alleged connection to Pogos. Not funny.
Okay ka lang?
Not funny to
Okay ka
laugh
lang.
at people
Say
na
Bamban.
Bamban.
Again, one more.
Gusto mo ako magtanong, ikaw mag-pronounce?
We are just getting started. More of our top 10 news when Brunch returns. Keep
Kuchinta.
it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Thursday.
Ano yung masarap kainin kasama ng puto?
Ano? Dinuguan?
Yung isa.
Alin?
Yung color, yung color
Alin?
orange.
Orange? Ano ko alam? Tokneneng?
Kutsinta. Sabihin mo nga yung kutsinta. Sabihin mo yung
Ayoko,
kutsinta.
nabubulol ako.
Pinagtatawanan mo ako sa bamban. Sabihin mo kutsinta.
Bakit? Hindi naman
Oh,
relevant
ako na
yung
magsabi.
dito eh.
Sabi kasi
Irrelevant.
sabi po kasi ni Angel, kunchinta. Paulit-ulit mula
Hindi
pagkabata.
naman nila gets yun eh.
Kunchinta. Kutsinta dapat, kunchinta ang sinasabi mo.
Okay, this is not relevant.
Oh, wow.
Going straight na sa ating sa ating countdown. For our top 7, the House of Representatives has approved on third and final reading the measure on divorce. The bill narrowly passed the lower house with 126 affirmative votes, 109 negative votes, and 20 abstentions. Under this measure, grounds for absolute divorce include physical violence, drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, and marital infidelity. Albay Representative Elsa Lagman, the bill's principal author, says the proposed law will not cater to those seeking quick separations.
To those who oppose the measure, I truly respect their differing views based on religious belief, fear of their bishops and pastors. We shall begin our campaign in the Senate so that its counterpart measure, which has long been ripe for plenary deliberations, shall similarly be passed.
Well, it's good naman na naka-define dito kung ano yung mga circumstances na allow nila yung divorce.
Wala yung mga drive-thru, marriages.
Oo, kasi dati kasi ang fear ng tao parang sa US, di ba you could get divorced for simple reasons as magkaiba kayo ng gusto ng programa sa television.
Even yung sa toothpaste, di ba?
Ang magiging issue lang kasi dito, they're citing yung annulment and nullity of marriage. Matagal daw masyado ang proseso no, for some people. Kasi pwede naman annulment lang eh. So ang magiging problema dito is, of course, when divorce comes in, you have now annulment, nullity of marriage, you have divorce, and now you have legal separation. And all of this usually falls under the family court. So you have now 4 options of dissolving a marriage. And all of this will still be raffled to family court. So yung pagkaano ng divorce, pag-file ng divorce, matatagalan din because maloload pa rin yung mga sala ng mga judge.
Tignan natin. Let's talk further about this. We have with us Albay 1st District Representative Edsa Lagman. Thanks for joining us.
Good day,
Kong.
Representative Lagman.
Hi,
Thank you
good
again.
Good morning. Sasagutin ko muna yung sinasabi ninyo na because of the 4 options, ay ma-overload yung
Yes,
family
Kong.
court. We already anticipated this. Kaya mayroong provision sa ating panukala na the Supreme Court is authorized to create more
court.
family
Okay.
courts.
So Kong, I'd like...
At DOJ naman is authorized to increase the number of attorneys who would be helping the petitioners who do not have the capacity to pay for the proceedings.
Well, that's good to hear, Kong. Pero ang tanong ng marami, if natuloy po ito and nagsimula na po, how long usually do you anticipate yung isang proseso sa divorce? Kasi ang annulment at nullity of marriage, ang tagal po ng proseso eh.
Meron tayong mandato sa panukala na itong divorce proceedings would be affordable and expeditious.
Okay.
Kaya bigyan natin ang family court ng 1 taon lamang
Okay.
na magdesisyon sa petisyon at pagkatapos ng 60-day cooling off period.
Okay.
Kaya mabilis to. Hindi to aabutan ng dekada kapalis ng annulment proceedings o legal separation.
That's right.
That's right.
At yung walang kaya ay mag-a-apply as court-assisted petitioners. Sila ay accept na sa pagbayad ng filing fees, judicial costs, at bibigyan sila ng attorney de officio at bibigyan pa rin ng mga expert like psychiatrists and psychologists.
Kong, ito po ay...
Inexpensive and talagang expeditious.
Right. Kung ito po kasi ay second time na po no ng divorce measure na maipasa sa House noong 2018, and in fact it died na nga po sa Senate. Pero this time around, how optimistic are you with the passage of this bill, especially with the recent shakeup in the Senate?
First, yung unang panukala na pumunta sa Senado at napasa sa mababang kapulungan ay late na dumating sa Senado. Wala ng panahon
That's why,
alakayin yung
oo.
pagtali. Hindi sa ayaw ng Senado. Meron time constraints. Pangalawa, ano ang epekto ng pagpalit ng liderato sa Senado? During the past leadership, tumagal yung proseso doon. Matagal nang approve ng committee sa Senado yung panukala, pero hindi dinadala sa plenaryo. Kami ay umaasa na with the change of leadership, mas mabilis ang gagawin ng Senado. Sa katunayan nga, ako ay tumawag na by text message to Senator Francis Tolentino na yung bagong majority leader na kung pwede at his convenient time and date, mag-usap kami tungkol sa counterpart measure sa Senado.
Nag-reply po ba siya sa
ito,
inyo?
Maganda ang pag-asa na bago matapos itong 19th Congress, ipatas na an absolute divorce law.
Yun, Kong Edsel, no, para lang ma-convince din yung mga ibang medyong negative pa rin sa panukala na ito, bakit po kailangan ng divorce when we already have daw the 3 options available? Ano po ang advantages with having divorce?
Unang-una, dun sa dissolution of marriage and the family code, ito ay labi ng Catholic Church. Yung psychological incapacity ay before or during the solemnization of the marriage. Dito sa divorce, before, during, and after.
Okay.
Sa annulment of marriage, alam natin na yung mga causes nito, like lack of consent, fraud, insanity, age, and lack of parental consent, ito ay before or during the solemnization of the marriage, hindi after. Ang karamihan ng causes for divorce, like marital infidelity, marital abuse, marital abandonment, ay nangyayari after the solemnization of the marriage and during cohabitation. Kaya mas comprehensive itong ating panukala. Ngunit, ito ay isang option lamang.
Okay.
Kaya natin ng choice yung mga spouses kung ano ang gusto nila under the family code or under the divorce proceedings. Pero sinasabi namin na under the divorce proceedings, this is affordable and expeditious. At mas marami na causes, ngunit itong mga causes to will undergo a judicial process. Pinagbabawal natin ang no contest divorce. Pinababawal natin ang notarial divorce. Pupunta ka lang sa notaryo at okay na. O yung email divorce, mag-i-email ka lang na gusto mo na mag-divorce, okay na. At yung mga quickie divorces, yan ay pinagbabawal. Kailangan merong valid causes. At ito ay subject to judicial scrutiny at walang collusion or moro yung mag-asawa.
So far, Kong, wala pa po akong naririnig na mga interviews or balita or statements na sinasabi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos regarding this issue. Tahimik po siya. But are you confident that this is going to be a bill under his term?
Ito ang balita sa mababang kapulungan. Ang balita ay nagtanong ang aming kasama sa kanyang tatay kung ano ang iboboto niya sa absolute divorce bill. Ang sabi ng Pangulo, conscience vote. Kaya ang liderato nagsabi sa mababang kapulungan, sa mga miyembro ng mga mababang kapulungan na conscience vote. At ano ang nangyari? Yung conscience ng Kamara ay lumabas. Ano ang lumabas? Loud and clear. Isa batas na ang absolute divorce law.
To be clear on that, ang kausap niyo po ay yung kanyang anak, si Congressman Sandro Marcos.
Hindi ko siya kausap personal tungkol doon sa usapan niya ng mag-anak, mag-ama. Ito ay ipinabot sa amin ng mga leaders of the House.
Alright.
Okay, Kong, ako I'm a Catholic po, pero after hearing some of the provisions that you have mentioned, it seems like it's acceptable po sa understanding ko of my faith. Ngayon, do you plan po to have further dialogue to explain itong provisions that you just explained to me na, for example, yung no contestation marriage, kasi ang fear ng iba, it's like the US, simply, pwede ka mag-divorce dahil sa toothpaste. Pero mukhang dito, it's very strict. Meron ka pang dadaan sa, I think, psych test. And may mga provisions.
Saka grounds, talaga yung mga abuse, infidelity,
yes,
yun talaga.
very valid po yun. Do you plan to have a further dialogue para ma-explain po na maayos?
Oh yes, I'm always open to any dialogue. Alam mo, hindi alam ng karamihan na doon sa aming sa batas ng reproductive health law, kami ay 2 beses nag-dialogue with the principal bishops tinggil sa aming panukala noon. And we accepted some of their suggested provisions. Kami naman ay open to dialogue with all sectors. Yung mga against at yung mga in favor o yung talagang wala pang desisyon kung sila ay sang-ayon o hindi.
Kung lastly po, si former Senator Tito Soto ay nagbabala that some groups daw po may question the constitutionality rather of the proceedings yesterday. What's your reaction on this?
Palagay ko si former Senate President Tito Soto ay blinded lamang ng kanyang advocacy against the divorce law. Ang katunayan, mali ang sa kanyang computation. Sapagkat ang kinocompute ay yung mga nagboto kung merong quorum. Yung karamihan ng yes at karamihan ng no. At yung abstention ay hindi boto yon, hindi binabilang. Kaya ang latest report from the House ay 131 na ang boto, 109 yung hindi, at 20 yung hindi bumoto. In other words, lamang yung bumoto ng 22 votes. Sabi ko nga, sa PBA, talagang malaki na ito.
Alright, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us, Albay 1st District Representative Ed Salagman.
Maraming salamat for this opportunity.
Alright, si Kong Edsel, laki ng pinagano niya, yung transition ng pinagbago niya from long time ago kasi noon medyo fiery and feisty. Ngayon,
happy siya ngayon because
nakangiti.
yung kanyang bill na siya ang author ay talagang umuusad na.
Wag gumaganyan ka sa magsalita, namamanga ka ba sa mukha ko? Namamanga ka ba sa mukha ko?
Sige, hindi. Alright.
Coming at our 6th spot. Now let's talk about weather. A low-pressure area or LPA may develop into a tropical depression. Pag-asa reported the LPA was last spotted 1,080 kilometers east of southern Mindanao. It is expected to enter the Philippine area of responsibility today. If it develops into a storm, it will be named Aghon. Aghon.
Ang tawag dito, May pa lang meron ng namamataan. Diba? Pero sabi naman nila at 60% daw ang chance ang La Nina.
Yes,
pero malaki-laki pa rin yung percent.
Pero this one kasi, category niya is unsure if it will develop but may develop into a tropical depression.
So, ang tanong dyan ngayon, dahil May pa lang, hindi pa nga tapos yung classes sa mga estudyante ngayon, sa susunod na pasukan, which is, eto na, pasok yan dito sa natin, sa next topic natin for today. Connect natin siya kasi weather din ang naging dahilan nito no? Coming in at our top 5, President Bongbong Marcos approves the proposal to return to the old school calendar. The approved proposal retains the July 29 start of classes and pushes back the end of classes on April 15. That's about a month earlier than originally planned by the Education Department. Students and teachers have been clamoring for the return to the old school calendar due to extreme heat. The DepEd also proposed to have Saturday classes, but Marcos raised concerns on the well-being of students.
President Marcos was presented with two options,
Yes.
but he did not take those options. He gave his own option, which is yun to nga yung
Eto,
nakikita natin na na-approve.
Aggressive yung approach natin sa pagbabalik sa old school calendar. So, which is in fact, yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina, connected ito dun sa weather because the reason why nga na ito pinag-usapan, binalik sa dating old school calendar, marami naman talaga na nasuspend na classes dahil sa extreme heat. Ngayon, that rainy season ay papalapit na, ay yun na naman din ang usapan natin. Baka marami din mga classes ang masususpend dahil dito sa
Kasi
weather.
I remember nung 80s and 90s, yung mga panahon na nag-high school pa ako, huwag nyo na i-compute every time na umuulan, tas nagbabaha, there was always a discussion of changing the school calendar to match that of the international calendar like the US, 'di ba? Para pag nagsa-summer break ang ibang country, nagsa-summer break din tayo. Plus, mababawasan daw supposedly ang mga cancellation of classes because wala ka na sa yung tag-ulan, 'di ba? Pinasok mo sa summer. Nagreklamo pa nga ang iba, paano yung mga summer break ng mga bata? They did that, nag-start ng pandemic, and ngayon gusto nila ibalik because they're adjusting to
The
yung mga
weather.
irregularity in weather. But yung problema sa weather, napaka-fickle. The weather is fickle-minded. Diba? Wala siyang definite
Ngayon nga,
schedule.
aga, May pa lang, meron ka
Yun
na
ang point.
nakikita
Kaya maganda yung sinabi ni former Senator Bam Aquino, we should have a holistic approach
Yes.
to these problems that we have and not keep on adjusting when it fits us. So ano yung holistic approach? Improve infrastructure, improve the teacher salaries, improve access to, for example,
Avoid overcrowding sa classrooms.
exactly. Tapos, infrastructure includes not only the actual school, but the roads that lead up to a school. If the area is bahain, for example, the area sa
The area is bahain. Oh.
Ayaw ko na magsalita.
Go ahead, natutuwa lang ako. Go ahead.
Wala kang ginawa.
The area is bahain. You're so social. Oh, go ahead.
Ikaw mag-banter.
If the area
Magaling
is-
ka eh. Magaling ka mang insulto. Di ikaw
Pero
dyan.
hindi kita iniinsulto. Natuwa lang ako. Pero yun nga, tama naman yung sinasabi mo, holistic approach. Sinabi rin niya ni Senator Bam Aquino when he guested here sa show natin. At isa pa, bigyan din yung mga teachers natin, aside from the increase of salary, but of course, yung kanilang access to internet, computers, etc. O ba?
Ganda ng ano mo.
Ay nako, lubos mo oras ko. Pero yun nga, but hopefully, ito yung tinatawag natin na band-aid solutions eh.
We should finally talk about something that is a long-term solution.
But apparently, itong old school calendar na to ay mas maraming may gusto na bumalik. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Natin, let's just support this idea and let's see what's going to happen. But in the meantime, yun nga syempre, ang importante pa rin dyan ay yung safety ng mga estudyante,
and
ng mga teachers and other staff sa school. And of course, yung quality of education na binibigay sa mga estudyante. Dahil we've seen a lot of surveys and reports regarding rankings ng eskwelahan dito sa Pilipinas na bumababa yung quality or kalidad ng edukasyon.
Alright, let's move on. Switching gears and on to our fourth spot. The House of Representatives issues the penalty of censure against Davao del Norte Solon Pantaleon Alvarez. This comes after the disorderly conduct complaint filed against him over his call for the military to withdraw their support of the Marcos administration. The House Committee on Ethics and Privileges originally recommended a 60-day suspension against Alvarez, but it was reduced to censure or a formal reprimand. Some lawmakers believe that Alvarez was just exercising his freedom of speech when he made the call to the armed forces of the Philippines.
For context, yan yung umattend sila ng rally, di ba? At calling on the armed forces of the Philippines sa mag-aklas.
Pero alam mo, the freedom of speech, I understand that. But,
You have also responsibility.
the freedom of speech comes with responsibility, especially with a public official. Kasi nakikita ng mga constituents yan kung paano umaasta ang representative nila. And if that's how he talks, you may give them the wrong mindset na, oy, pwede pala yung ganito.
Exactly.
Ayaw ko sa presidente, mananawagan ako sa AFP. Hindi maganda yun.
Exactly. Pero I was looking into the whole issue na nakikita natin in terms of politics. Sabi ko nga sa'yo kaninang umaga. 'Di ba? Some years ago, si Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez ang House Speaker.
Yes.
'Di ba? Ngayon siya
He was a House Speaker, very powerful, supermajority.
Diba?
Tapos
right now, ngayon siya yung pinaparusahan, nire-repriman.
Nagkaroon siya ng lamat, di ba, with several people sa administration.
Including President Duterte at that time.
And then, sino pumalit sa kanya?
I forgot.
Parang ang tagal na nun. Anyway, just talks about politics na, di ba, once a very powerful speaker, now ngayon na-censure siya.
Oo, parang nangyayari lang din ngayon sa Senate. Yung
That's why laging dapat ang mindset ng mga tao is huwag ka nang mga away because you never know sino makakasalamuha mo in the future na inaway mo in the past.
At saka dapat tapat ka lang sa mandato mo, sa trabaho mo, public service.
Country first.
Problema kasi politiko politika, 'di ba? Anyway, let's move on. Sizzling at the third spot is Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos. The former Armed Forces of the Philippines Western Command Chief admitted that he spoke with a Chinese military official over the phone, but he has denied entering into any agreement with China. Here's the report.
I did not forge any agreement at the level and magnitude that would bind our two countries for the long term and redefine foreign policy.
That's former Armed Forces Western Command Commander Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos speaking for the first time about the supposed new model agreement made with China on the West Philippine Sea. Speaking before the Senate Committees on National Defense and Security and Foreign Relations, Carlos admitted that he did speak via telephone with a certain Senior Colonel Lee, who is a Chinese military attaché. When asked further by the News 5 team later on, Carlos said the person he spoke to was Chinese Senior Colonel Lee Jianzhong. But in the hearing, Carlos denied that he entered into any agreement that endangers the country's national security.
The term common understanding, new model, were not part of our conversation, Mr. Chair.
Okay, what was the gist of your conversation and how many minutes was that conversation?
As far as I can remember, Mr. Chair, it lasted for 3 to 5 minutes.
According to Carlos, they did talk about ways to bring down the tensions in the West Philippine Sea. As for the details, Carlos asked for it to be tackled instead in an executive session. Carlos did share, though, that he was in the middle of an operation in the West Philippine Sea when Lee called him. Carlos said he did not know that the call was recorded.
So I have not given my consent to record to anybody, and I have not been asked for permission to do so, Mr. Chair.
After the Chinese embassy released to media outlets the transcript of their conversation, Carlos said Lee apologized to him via text message. Carlos said he did not respond to this. For senators, China is using the issue to twist the narrative and manipulate the public. Senator Francis Tolentino also called out the Foreign Affairs Department for not immediately summoning Chinese Ambassador Wang Xilian after the release of the transcripts. But the DFA says charges must first be filed against a diplomat before they can take action. The agency explains diplomats have immunity under the Vienna Convention.
They could argue, sir, that he was just exercising his function as part of his mandate as a member of the mission.
So that would mean even taping a conversation is part of his mandate. Walang ginagawa pa ang DFA. Ang DFA naghihintay na may mag-file ng kaso. Ang DFA may poder na mag-declare ng persona non grata. Hindi ko rin alam kung ano pa yung hinihintay natin dito.
To be able to file a case, the Justice Department says China first needs to waive immunity provided for the Chinese military attaché that Vice Admiral Carlos spoke with. But if this does not happen, the DOJ says he can instead be declared persona non grata. The agency says they will use Carlos' sworn statement for their investigation and as basis for filing of charges. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
In a related news, the Philippine Navy is confirming reports of a pipe installation in some parts of the Scarborough Shoal or Panatag Shoal. Filipino fishermen in the area reported an ongoing pipe installation under a sandbar. If the reports are verified, the Philippine Navy will investigate the people behind the pipe installation and their intention. The Navy continues to monitor Panatag Shoal amid the ongoing tension with China.
Wow, no? Yung pipe installation daw, sabi mo, it's as big as
Oo, sinlaki daw ng Quezon City.
Ang laki niya, ibig sabihin, this is a long-term
Matagal
project.
itong ginagawa.
Ang matagal, paano to ginawa?
At hindi natin nakikita talaga.
Oo.
Kasi apparently, di ba, according dun sa mga report, wait lang double check ko lang. So, parang daw ito yung mga underwater system. It could be, di ba, an underwater system. And before daw kasi, hindi ko na makita yung doon sa area na nakakalapit pa yung mga fishermen, mga within 50 to 150 nautical miles. Ngayon daw talagang tinataboy na sila because there's an ongoing activity. Apparently, there were reports about it. And going back naman doon sa pinag-uusapan kanina, yung sa wiretapping incident na finally nagpunta nga si Admiral Carlos doon sa Senate hearing. And sinabi niya, meron talagang phone conversation. Pero yung wiretapping, hindi niya alam yun. Ano pa yung sinabi niya? Hindi din siya nag-authorize of anything.
No, nothing was discussed.
Nothing was
on
discussed
that,
about...
You know, but hindi mo rin masisisi ang mga tao. Kasi sa number one, the initial stance was, walang si Carlos when he was on leave, sabi matagal na daw final lang on leave, open-ended is normal daw.
Oo.
All of a sudden, nangyari kay Carlos, he was removed.
Yes.
Diba, from his post. Tapos all of a sudden, from the stance na deepfake daw yung conversation, baka deepfake daw, and wala daw nangyaring conversation, biglang may nangyaring conversation, pero walang
Pero
agreement.
no agreement.
No, pero paiba-iba
With
kasi
China.
ang report na lumalabas.
That's why, ang sinabi ng Foreign Ministry, China, China's spokesperson, ang sinasabi nila, yung the fact na tinanggal daw nila sa pwesto ito si Admiral Carlos, ay in fact, it states, it's a test statement na may maling ginawa si former Vice
Hindi,
Admiral
kasi if you have the
Carlos.
transcript already, makikita mo naman, sige, there was a conversation, but possibly, sinabi ni Carlos na wala naman agreement na ginawa. Di ilabas kung walang agreement. But if China from the start was insinuating that there was an agreement and then they were recording conversations with high-ranking officials, we should take a look at that also because that is well, in some countries, that is high treason. Gawin mo yan sa Russia. May wiretape mo conversation with the Russian generals. That is high treason sa iba.
Ano ko lang, natanggal si si Admiral what's his name? Admiral
Carlos.
Alberto Carlos sa Westcom.
Yeah. That's what I said. From his post, not from his rank.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on the One News.
Good morning ka dun, mabilis oh. Hala.
Oh, good morning kay Gary Field, kay
Cecil.
Sam Pokemon Go, kay Cecil Samaniego, VJ, and thank you for watching us lahat ng mga suki
Gary
natin, di ba? Sinabi ko na si Gary
Sabi
Field.
mo ba? Okay. Tycoon Lance Gokongwei pushed the government and the private sector to further harness the potentials of the education, manufacturing, and tourism sectors. In a speech at Business World Economic Forum yesterday, JG Summit President and CEO Lance Gokongwei said that young Filipinos should have the skills to keep up our economy. He noted that students and teachers should attain more skills in technology, science, engineering, and mathematics. Gokongwei added that the state should be the key enabler in facilitating the cost and ease of doing business. Meanwhile, the private companies should continue in investing and creating jobs and wealth to improve lives.
Now coming hot at the second spot. The Senate has elected new committee chairs 3 days after the sudden shakeup. Former Senate President Mig Zubiri was elected the chairman of the Economics Affairs Committee. His committee predecessor, Senator Mark Villar, will take over the government corporations and public enterprises. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano will handle 2 committees, Trade and Industry and Higher Technical and Vocational Education. His sibling, Senator Pia, was elected the Energy Committee chair, while Senator Grace Poe will get the Finance Committee. The Justice and Human Rights Committee is now under Senator Sani Angara, while Senator Nancy Binay will get the Sustainable Development Goals Committee. Senator J.V. Ejercito is back in the local government after resigning from the committee 3 days ago. Senator Joel Villanueva takes the Labor Committee, and Senator Rafi Tulfo will handle the Public Services Committee. Senator Lito Lapid will preside over the Tourism Committee, and Senator Amy Marcos will head the Urban Planning, Housing, and Resettlement Committee.
Okay, let's continue with our countdown. Our today's top story is the continuation of the Senate investigation on Bamban Mayor Alice Guo's alleged links to Pogos. Lawmakers also grilled Guo on her dubious citizenship. The details in this report by Ria Fernandez.
Instead of providing clarity, more questions have risen about Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo in today's joint committee hearing in the Senate regarding the illegal operations of Pogo in Tarlac. During the hearing, senators scrutinized the details of Guo's birth certificate. It was discovered that she has 2 siblings through her father, Angelito Guo, and mother, Amelia Lial. This revelation led to questions about why the mayor only disclosed this information now.
Na Sheila L. Guo at Siemen L. Guo at isa pang dokumento na Sheila Leal Guo at Siemen Leal Guo. At tinanong ko sa inyo kung mga kapatid nyo sila, ang sabi nyo sa akin, hindi nyo sigurado kung kamag-anak nyo sila.
Kaya po, lahat na lang po naging sagot ko po is I don't know, hindi ko po alam. Dahil ayaw ko po madamay pa po ang ibang tao.
It was also revealed that the birth certificates of Guo's alleged siblings indicated that their parents were married, contradicting the mayor's earlier statement that she was born out of wedlock because her mother, who the mayor claims she never saw growing up, was a household helper of her father. But what was strange is that the registered marriage dates are different.
At least you should have asked your father na bakit ganito. Sabi mo kasambahay siya. Kung kasambahay siya, bakit kasal kayo? Bago ka pinanganak, kasal na sila. And then lumilitaw sa birth certificate, kasal din siya. Iba-iba yung date ng kasal ng father mo dito sa mother, supposedly mother mo. So parang twice kinasal yung mother mo dito kay Amelia. Hindi mo ba tinanong sa papa mo yung discrepancy? I would have asked it, especially ikaw, mayora ka na.
Your Honor, hindi po kasi namin pinag-uusapan po sa bahay.
So you should have asked that. Come on, Dad, give me a break. Tell the truth. I deserve the truth, right? Mayora ka eh. Oh, he didn't ask that? I don't believe you.
Your Honor, yan po yung truth. Hindi po namin pinag-uusapan po sa bahay. Medyo sensitive.
Due to Guo's inconsistent answers, the senators suspect it's possible that the mayor's claimed parents aren't her real parents.
Ang tatay niyo po ba ay Chinese?
Tatay ko po ay Chinese.
Kung siya ay Chinese, yung tatay nyo, bakit kaya ang sabi sa birth certificate mo na ang tatay mong si Angelito Guo ay Filipino? And the Chinese national cannot have two citizenships. Wala po silang dual citizenship. Why would you say he's a Chinese national with a Chinese passport? Pero ang
Mayor Guo initially stated that her father himself registered her birth certificate, claiming that she personally provided the personal details to the registrar. But based on a fact-finding of the Philippine Statistics Authority, there are no birth or even marriage records of the alleged parents of the mayor.
Itong birth certificate na ito, pwede ba nating sabihin defective or invalid? Mali-mali information eh.
Maaari rin po nating pag-isipan po na na marami pong irregularidad dito sa birth certificate na to.
Despite the questionable details about her identity, Mayor Guo's camp insisted that the allegations against her are untrue. They claim that they have nothing to prove.
Wala na siya ibang passport. So now the burden of proof transfers to the accuser. Napatunayan nila na peke yung mga hawak naming dokumento. Yung kanyang birth certificate, yung kanyang passport, ilang beses na po yun na-renew.
In the same hearing, Guo said she was unaware that her foreign business partners have criminal records. This was after Ontiveros disclosed that Guo's incorporators in the Baofu Land Development Incorporated included Filipino national Rachel Joan Malonzo Carrion, Cypriot national Jiang Wan, Chinese national Zhang Rujin, and Dominican national Bao Yinglin. Wang For-Wan is an identified fugitive who is being hunted by the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. For her part, Guo narrated that after divesting from the company in 2022, she has not heard from them since. In the end, Ontiveros blasted Guo for not conducting due diligence, questioning how she could not even know about her own business partners' backgrounds. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
And that sums up the whole day for all the news for today. And because of that, I'd like to leave you with a quote to start your day right. You've got to get up every morning with determination if you are going to bed with satisfaction. A quote from George Lorimer. And that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunzad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.